Welcome back. We're discussing the issue of child marriage in Nigeria, and it's one issue we want viewers to call in, tell us your experience, what is happening. Do you have any experience regarding child marriage? Do you know someone that needs to get out of the situation? And this is one issue we try to hide in our community, and we need to be open about it. We will go straight to Lagos now, and we'll be speaking to Rashidat. And Rashidat Bakare is an activist, and she's a community organizer, quite passionate about this issue. She works with young children in Borno and Northeast Nigeria, and she's worked with young women, young ladies across the country. So let's go straight to Lagos, and later we'll be joined by Kaderia Ahmed, a Nigerian journalist in Abuja. Good evening, Rashidat.
Good evening.
Rashida, you're welcome to the program. Now, tell us, just how serious is the problem of child marriage, child bride, as they say? Let's first take a look at southern Nigeria. How serious is the problem?
Okay. Child marriage is not only common in northern Nigeria, as most of us assume. It is also prevalent in other parts of Nigeria, especially in the southwest, the east, and also the west of Nigeria, and in various countries as well in sub-Saharan Africa. In southwest, we don't really have it been told out there like it is in the north part of the country because of civilization exposure. Most of the people are doing it in the rural areas of southwest. It is not something that you see in the open. It doesn't happen like that. It is more of, instead of child marriage, instead of legalizing it, they go into things like teenage rape, infant rape, sexual harassment, and what have we, instead of child marriage.
Okay, so what we have in the south, that's prevalent in the south, is young people, young girls being raped and being sexually abused. Do these girls, are they open to reporting to the authorities or telling their stories, or is it something that is just an underbelly of the society?
It is actually underbelly of the society. Most of these issues don't come out to the public if people are not caught in the act. You know, girls are afraid of stigmatization and all of those things that comes with when you come out and tell the world of what is happening to you. So people don't really come out. Girls of young age don't really come out. And we actually need to encourage them to start talking so that we can really arrest this issue on time.
Okay. Okay, now there's this thing, when you talk about child bride in Nigeria, I'm on social media, the first thing that comes into people, they just think, those smaller, those Fulani people just get this stigma that is a northern Nigeria issue. How correct is that? Is it really a northern Nigeria issue, or it's an issue that cuts across the country but just prevalent more in the northern part of the country?
It is an issue that cuts across the country, just prevalence in the northern parts because of education, the level of education, rate of poverty, and all those kind of factors. So it is more prevalent in the northern parts of the country.
Okay, Rashida, I'm gonna read some statistics out now, and I'm sure our viewers will find this shocking. In the United States of America, it is said that girls as young as 12 to 13 will get married in the state of Virginia or Massachusetts or whatever they call it. Girls as young as 12 to age 13, you know, could legally get married. Are you surprised by this? And this is the USA.
USA, that civilized country. Yeah. Well, I am very surprised because I want to believe that it is only on the civilized countries that would encourage such acts. Because when you're talking about early marriage is different from child marriage. You have to have reached the age of maturity before you can get married. And maturity is not just hitting puberty.
Yeah.
It's also full development of intellectual, also the body parts and all. So I am very surprised to have that in the record.
Okay, let's look at the role of religion. Some would justify this act by saying, look, it's un-Islamic, or some would say, okay, look, during in the Old Testament, you would have cases of some some prophets marrying young people. Is it got anything to do with religion? Is it something that religion does justify the issue of young girls as young as 13 getting married, like in Iran, where at the age of 9 you could give a girl out in marriage?
Okay, to answer that, I would say people are actually misinterpreting religious teachings, because a religion advising early marriage is not the same as child marriage. People need to be made to understand the difference between the two, of early marriage and child marriage. Early marriage is consummation as soon as both parties are considered matured. That is early marriage.
Okay.
But child marriage is when you give a child of 9 years old, like you just said, 12 years old, out into that kind of institution, and the child is not fully matured. Even if he or she has hit puberty, she is not well developed. The organs are not developed. She is not matured enough to actually just do that. Okay. She's not matured.
You've done some work in the northeastern part of Nigeria, or is it Borno State to be specific? Can you tell us about what you're doing there, what your organization is doing there?
Okay, the Empower Borno project. We have the Empower Borno project currently ongoing in Borno State, and the mission is to achieve the total redevelopment of the state via entrepreneurial intervention. And this is because that particular state is a state that is we have prevalence of the Boko Haram sect attack. Yeah. That is where it is centered. So we need to start from the source and work on this issue. We have different objectives, one of which is, of course, the education. Because when we're talking about child marriage, lack of education is actually a very big factor influencing this. If these people are well educated, they would be able to understand when we're talking about maturity and full development. Do you understand? Yeah. So we are looking at attacking and taking care of what's it called? Increasing the level of education by our educational initiative. We also have freedom activities. We also have psychosocial support to help the victim of the insurgency to overcome the trauma that they have gone through this period of time, so that they can go back to what they used to do and pick up their lives again. We also have the medical initiative. We have the ICT. We have the agricultural initiative. Things that would enable these people to be able to know that there are other things out there that you can do apart from misinterpret religious teachings. You know, poverty and lack of education is a very key factor that leads to terrorism and corruption. Terrorism, insurgency, corruption, all these things are influenced by poverty and also lack of education. So we are trying to look at all those initiatives, bring that into book, and incorporate these into the lives of the internally displaced persons.
Okay, I've got statistics right in front of me. It says that every year 15 million girls are married before the age of 18, and that is 28 girls every minute, and most of them, 85% of this, out of the 15 million girls annually, are married off too soon, and that endangers their personal development. What are the implications of child marriage and for lack of a proper underage marriage, if I would say, for a country that is developing, that seems to be going through economic crisis, that seems to be going through social malaise? There's the issue of insurgency. People can't find jobs. What are the implications of this early marriage or child marriage, underage marriage in the country like Nigeria?
The consequences of early marriage. One is high rates of early childbearing, which leads to overcrowding, of course. Like, you know, the population of Nigeria is increasing every second. Yeah. If you look at the record, you see the record counting every second. So high rates of early childbearing. We have maternal and infant mortality rates, because these children are not even able to take care of themselves. They are not fully developed to go through that exercise of pregnancy and childbearing. So we have high rates of child and infant mortality rates. Also, lack of health care, basic health care. Like I said, they are not even able to take care of themselves. They are they're susceptible to contracting diseases such as UTI, cervical cancer, pelvic inflammatory diseases, and what have we? HIV/AIDS also is also very prevalent. And lack of education also, it's a consequence, because when you're too young and then you give birth, you're not able to take care of the child like you should, you understand? So the children will be deprived education. You see them walking, you see them, and then the cycle continues.
Okay.
Also, in conclusion, girls are deprived of a voice in their marriage and in their community. When you're too young, the husband is more like the head, is more like the only one that is making the decisions and every other thing. And also, the girls are not developed enough to form ideals on their own.
Okay. Just hold on there, Rashida, because we want our viewers to be able to call in now. The phone number to call is 0208 808 0693. The phone lines are now open. My producer is just telling me that the phone lines are now open, so you can call in and join this conversation. I want to go into the issue of female genital mutilation, because even though we say the issue that is prevalent in northern Nigeria is child underage marriage, but in the south, FGM also is something, one key thing that is coming up, that is seen as a huge problem. Are we seeing improvement in terms of information to communities, and in terms of what's being done to enlighten those that take part in this act?
Please, can you reiterate that question?
Yeah, I'm talking about the issue of female genital mutilation, which is FGM. And during the research, we're told that there is an increase in that in the southern part of the country. Do you have you come across this fact that we're noticing increase in FGM in the southern part of the country?
In the southern part of the country, no, because I want to believe the civilization and exposure is increasing, and so that should be reducing. It should not be increasing. I've not come across the fact that says FGM is being practiced, at least not in this generation.
Okay. Now, you've been to the IDP camp in northern Nigeria, especially in Borno. What's the situation? What would you say is the situation of things now in Borno State?
The situation of things right now in Borno State, when you're talking about security, it is improved. I wouldn't say better. I wouldn't say best. I would say improved in comparison with a few years back, when we're talking about 2014, when the situation is really, really serious. It is improved because these governments, they are really trying in the aspect of security. They are putting the situation under control. I mean, the Boko Haram attack situation. But of course, there are still some attacks here and there, whereby we have 2-3 people dying, which is not encouraged. It's not something we're happy about. But it's improved. And of course, in the IDP camps, the living is not, the government is trying. We cannot say they are not trying. The standard of living is being improved. People are contributing. The welfare is well. There are, what's it called, non-governmental organizations coming in to render help, in terms of helping them in terms of sustainability, providing medical support, food, and what have we. But the number of people that are in the camp, in comparison with the aid they are getting, is relatively small. So the people still need more help. Do you understand?
Okay.
People need to consider, to understand that these people they've lost everything. They've lost their livelihood, their means of livelihood. They can't work, they can't do anything, because of course if you go out to work, you're risking your life, you're risking virtually everything. And you have lost your property, you don't even have your basic tools and equipment to work. So you're basically sitting down there and waiting for aid. And if you don't get this aid, or people don't come in to support you to get your life back, then it is even more dangerous, because if another sect is coming up, these people are very easy to recruit because they have nothing doing.
Okay, Rashida, just hold on there, because I've got a caller on the line. Hello, good evening, Samuel. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, Samuel, where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from London.
Okay, go ahead. What's your contribution?
My contribution, actually, sorry?
Samuel, you need to reduce the volume of your TV set so we can have a two-way conversation.
It is done.
All right, go ahead, please.
You said in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, must say that there is legal age marriage, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, that is legal. I mean, in Nigeria, it's not legal. I mean, we need to make it legal before they give those girls out.
Yeah.
It's not just because a big man comes, he's got his tattoo, and he feels he wants to marry a young little girl as early as 13. It's unfair.
Yeah.
It makes Nigeria as a country go backwards.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we're not like...
Okay, you have your line is bad. We encourage you to call back again. But just to recap that in the U.S. and this is in the USA, some states allow girls to get married at the young age of 12. Several states, including Massachusetts, allow children to get married. In exceptional circumstances, in the state of Virginia, it's officially still legal for girls as young as 12 or 13 to be given away in marriage, and I think that's actually shocking. Let's get back to Rashida in Lagos. Hello, Rashida, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah, I think, Rashida, people are actually finding it difficult to believe that in a place like the USA, you could still have girls as young as 12 or 13 get married. Because when you're talking about child marriage, people just think, oh, it's a Muslim thing, it's Islamic nations or northern Nigeria, and we need to expand this conversation, don't you think?
It is shocking, it is saddening that even in those civilized places, we still have this issue occurring there. I'm sure it's because of the factors we have. We have traditional norms. When we're talking about tradition, we're talking about the culture. So I think it's actually something that is in us. Let me put it that way, from the scratch. It is education that is trying to take this thing away, because when we're very well educated, we understand that all these diseases, all these early deaths have causes. Do you understand?
Okay, all right, Rashida, hold on. Let me get Tony calling in from Manchester to join us in the conversation. Hello, good evening, Tony.
The point I want to make is that
good evening, Tony.
The child marriage is much prevalent in the northern part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And this has to do with the leaders and the cultural belief, because the leaders refuse to allow the girls to be educated. And these leaders are taking undue advantage of these girls being uneducated.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine a man who is as old as being a grandfather to a child,
yeah,
will ignore all the moralities about it and take up the girl as a wife? Because the leaders are the beneficiaries. So it's a sort of abuse, very endemic abuse, and nobody is speaking of, because it is mixed with religion and culture,
yeah,
to the detriment of the girl child. And these leaders are all participants in this evil, I call it evil act, because at the end of the day, these girls are traumatized. They do not have their own say. They rely on their parents, who are also taking undue advantage of other people's daughters.
yeah.
So it is like a cycle.
Okay.
And nobody is speaking about it, because when you see, some people say you are infringing into their fundamental right or cultural right or religious right.
Okay.
But I tell you, in totality, it is, to me, it's very demonic.
Okay,
because
thank you.
At the end of the day,
yeah,
it brings out a whole lot of poverty, which goes round and round within the region.
Okay.
So unless the outer world comes in and brings up a change, this will continue to go on.
Okay, Tony, thank you.
People are scared and afraid to speak up, because if you speak up, you might be endangering your life and your family.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Thanks for that, Tony from Manchester. And if Rashida is still there, Tony is saying that in the northern part of Nigeria, the reason why we have early marriage is culturally accepted. They are being exploited by the leaders in the north. And I can give a very clear example. Senator Yerima, who seems to specialize in every young girl around. He even would not not feel bad importing them from outside Nigeria. And he's saying it's culturally acceptable in the north, and the issue of religion. Is that something you would agree with? Do you think it's a fair point to make that until the leaders in the north start speaking out against early child marriage or underage marriage, that the issue will never go away?
Yes, I agree with him. It's more prevalent in the north, and because of those factors, traditional norms, cultural norms, and of course religion, yes, it is true. And we need the leaders to actually speak out, to drop this being biased and trying to fulfill their own selfish interests, and help us to bring about strong laws and policies that will protect the children.
Okay, Rashida, don't go away, because I've got a caller from Nigeria. I think I've got Ahmed from Nigeria. Ahmed, good evening.
Hi, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Ahmed. Where are you calling from in Nigeria?
Yeah, I'm calling from Lagos.
From Lagos, all right. Go ahead, please.
And I would just like to join the conversation and at the same time respond to the caller that just dropped,
yes,
that was indicating that leadership is part of the problem, which is very, very, which is a fact.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think citizens itself, we need to get involved. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate the young lady you got there. The empowerment is something that we're really hearing about your works in Nigeria. So if you can hear me, I want to commend your work and commend your bravery for being able to even go into the northern state part and confront such a difficult situation. So if all Nigerians can support such an initiative, can take charge and face this situation, I don't think it's the leadership alone. We as Africans, we as Nigerians need to also be able to go in where these problems are and join hands and support such initiative like this young lady. What's her name again?
Rashida.
Yes, Rashida. So just want to commend you for you. I can see you're a young woman and you're doing such a work. I would like to also find out if we want to support your initiative, how can we get out of you?
Okay, let me hold on there, Ahmed.
To participate in what you're doing, and I encourage every Nigerian, not just to talk. We talk a lot as Nigerians. We need to get involved.
Hold on, Ahmed, because I want.
That's my call.
Hold on, Ahmed. I want Rashida to. Rashida, if you can hear Ahmed, is commending the work you guys are doing in the northeastern part of Nigeria, and he's also asking how Nigerians can support people like you and encouraging other Nigerians to join in this campaign. If you would like to respond to Ahmed.
Yes, I would like to respond to Ahmed. Ahmed, thank you very much for your encouragement. For support, would like that Nigerians lend their voices to initiatives like this. Most people outside of the country, they are not aware of what is happening in these places. But when we come out to say this is what is happening, they need to lend their voice. They need to help us create more awareness by helping us to share our campaigns. There are lots of campaigns on social media that is talking about this, empowerable, no. So they should lend their voice and also support in terms of human resources. They can volunteer for this cause and join us, because we have a lot of things to do. And also they can help us, support us in terms of funding. There are a lot of things to do, educational materials. They can donate relief materials as well, sustain the people. So all these ways, would really appreciate if Nigerians can come out and join hands with us to.
Okay. All right. Just hold on, Rashid. If Ahmed is still there, Ahmed, can I quickly ask you a question before I let you go? Are you still there?
Yes, I would like to know if they have a website or an address or email.
Well, we'll put that on the screen in a moment. But Ahmed, let me ask you: do you have a personal experience? Do you know someone that is involved in early child marriage, or do you have a story regarding that? Or is this something that you just see from distance?
I don't. I've just been able to see. I'm one of the people that reads a lot and watch a lot of news, and I've been able to get my experience from that. But at the same time, I'm not one of those that would like to sit back and just listen to information. Even if I'm far away from Lagos, I would like to support. Like she said, she's got some campaigns I would like to share. I'll probably make a donation as well. If I make a donation, then my money can go where I cannot go. So it's not until my sister is married or my cousin
Yeah.
But as far as happening to a Nigerian, it's happening to me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ahmed, and thanks for calling us all the way
Thank
from
you, KO, for
from
such a
Nigeria.
good subject. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks for that. Now, Rashida, let me ask this it's politics with KO, so we ask unusual question. Now, Rashidat Bakare is a southwestern name, except I'm making it's a Muslim name, but mainly used by a southwesterner. So I assume you are from the southwest, and now you go to the north to work in the north and create friendship and help people out there. Do you get some sort of resistance when you go up north to do this work you're doing?
No, I do not, because people actually embrace when people come up and help them, especially when they see that you're not even from there, you're not even part of them, yet you have the humane feeling to come all the way and support. So I personally do not have any resistance. In fact, I get more love. People are willing to teach me their language. They are very happy to have me and of course the team to come and help them.
Okay, don't go away. I just want us to take a short break, and the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, made comments about Nnamdi Kanu's detention and Zakzaki. These people have been held in detention for, it's going to over a year now, if I'm not wrong. And he was asked a couple of questions about their detention. And let's hear Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, comment on the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu. And when we come back, we'll continue on our conversation about child marriage in Nigeria. It's still your program, Politics with KO.
Law, almost, and I'm a strong believer in obedience to court orders. Now, with respect to these individuals, I know that appeals are on the two cases, on the bail for the two cases, but I still strongly believe that it is our duty as government to respect the orders of the court. And that's my view. It's our position to respect the orders. In some cases, we may have a technical cover. Technical cover being that we have appealed the decisions, right? And because we have appealed decisions, we are waiting the outcome of those decisions. But I do want to say that I believe very strongly that where the orders of the court are given, we must obey the orders of the court. But we also reserve the right to appeal those orders, and that's what is happening in this case. The orders have been appealed, but as I said, I strongly believe that we have a right, we have a duty to obey all orders of courts. If you recall, what happened with the SGF was very simple. The Senate made a finding on the SGF, an interim finding, and the President asked the Attorney General to give an opinion. The Attorney General's opinion was that the Senate had not given Babachir Lawal a fair hearing. The Senate has now, I believe, invited him to come. So there is a process. I don't think that we should be in too much of a hurry to judge the matter, because there is a process. I think that is more important for us to even see, it's not, at this point, it might be too hasty to say that a decision has been taken. And I'm not so sure, of, how this works, and how you perceive it. But I want to say that this business of corruption and the fight against corruption is a very serious matter, very, very serious matter. And sometimes I'm amazed that very little is being said outside of those who are saying so in government. It's an existential matter. I don't know whether it's possible to overemphasize the point, but I think it's a very crucial matter. If people are stealing the resources of this nation, if people are taking bribes, if judges or persons in authority, whether they are judges or whoever they may be in government, ministers, whoever, if they are taking bribes, it attacks the fundament of our existence. as a society. We cannot tolerate it. We cannot accept it. Unfortunately for us, we have a system that has, over the years, fed itself fat on this corruption. The systems that we're operating, and that's why they say that corruption is systemic. You know, as you fight corruption, it fights back. Part of the problem that we're experiencing today is that there's a lot of pressure on law enforcement generally because of the different expressions of dissent and different expressions, in some cases insurgency, in some cases skirmishes as you've described. So there's a lot of pressure on law enforcement generally. And people do have a right to sometimes be offended by things, be up in arms and all of that. What we need to do is to quickly deal with those issues, to quickly try and see how we can resolve those issues. In many cases, it's not easy to resolve them. In many cases, I mean, look at the Southern Kaduna problem. That's been on for years and years and years. Even today, all the parties that I met admitted that what we're even experiencing now is a shadow of what has happened in the past. Hundreds of people have been killed in this process, in a lot of these conflicts over the years. But what we want to do is to see how we can resolve these problems, trying to see that justice is done. I think that what tends to happen in the past is that we just paper over issues. We just say, okay, everybody calm down, let's see what we can do about this, let's just calm down. And then we don't resolve the fundamental issues. But what we're trying to do is to look at what exactly the root causes of these problems are and try to resolve them. And that's why in this particular process, I've met with them twice now. Well, I'm going to meet with them individually again before we come back to meet, that's to say meet with both groups individually again, before we come back to take a look at what the issues are. You know, and we're trying to go through a deliberate process, you know, and for the first time, government is involved at the level of the presidency. We're not leaving the matter to be negotiated at a lower level. And so there's a measure of authority that is coming into it, a measure of commitment from the government that's coming into it. And that's the same thing we're doing in the Niger Delta as well. We're trying to ensure that we deal with people, we look at the issues. I mean, a lot of these issues are issues of justice. A lot of people feel that they've been hard done by the government. People feel that their resources, and they're not enjoying their resources. In many cases, people feel that even their own leadership have dealt them a poor hand. So it's the sort of thing that we have to, you know, you have to listen to the people. You have to understand what they're saying, and then try and resolve these issues, you know, step by step. And it's a tortuous process. It's a very difficult process. In many cases, they are just law enforcement concerns. Kidnapping, some people doing some crazy things somewhere. But we are trying to respond to that by beefing up our law enforcement capacity. Unfortunately, we have not equipped our police and military well enough. Just as I was saying earlier, you know, we are putting units of the army in southern Kaduna now. But we may not have the capacity to do so if we have flashpoints all over the country. Why? Because our military needs to be better equipped than it is today. The previous government, I mean, we're investigating all these defense contracts, things that ought to have been bought that were not bought. You know, embezzlement of funds that should have been used to equip law enforcement. And we're paying for that. We're paying for that now. So we need to equip our law enforcement well, and then we must also do some community policing.
Breaking news. The leader of the IPOB, that's the Biafran separatist movement in Nigeria, Nnamdi Kanu, is out on bail. You heard the vice president talking about his incarceration and the legality of his incarceration, but now he's out on bail. Nnamdi Kanu is leader of the independent indigenous people of Biafra, and on that footage you see Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer were able to get his bail condition met, and thanks to Nige.com getting us the exclusive footage of leader of the separatist Nigerian movement, pro-Biafra movement, Nnamdi Kanu, is out on bail. So he's a free man. He still needs to go back to court to answer to treasonable felony charges. I hope Rashida is still there, back on our main topic, which is underage marriage in Nigeria. And Kaderi Ahmed will be joining us later on the program. She's standing by in Abuja. But let us go straight to Coventry and speak with Dr. Musa. Hello, good evening, Dr. Musa. Hello, good evening. Okay, if we still have Rashida there. Rashida, are you still there?
I'm still here. Okay,
Rashida, so what are your final words regarding this issue of underage marriage so that we will get to the second part of the program?
I want to say that the government of Nigeria should help the children, help the female children, especially to put down policies and bills and laws that can, of course, protect our children in the future from this absurd practice of early child marriage, rather. And of course, they should help us to give access to education. This is actually very important, because with low level of education, things will just be going down the drain instead of us to.
Okay. And Rashida, can you tell us your website? Because I've got a lot of text messages saying that they want to support the work that you do. Can you tell us how can Nigerians find your organization?
Okay, the website for Empower Borno is www.empowerborno.com.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Rashida, for coming on the program, and we encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, and we'll continue to support you. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me, Kayode.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've got Dr. Musa in Coventry. Good evening, Dr. Musa. Can we have your contribution, please? Hello, good evening. Hello, do we still have Dr. Musa there? Okay, so we take a short break where we are going to look at a clip. It's still on the issue of child marriage in Nigeria, and you'll find this clip interesting because quite a number of people that are working with young children, young girls, that are being given away at the young age of 12, 13, 14, some forcefully, some they say it's religious, they must comply, a father will just say, that's the man you're going to get married to, and that's it. And when we come back, Kaderi Ahmed will be joining us from Abuja. So let's have the clip and testimonies of a number of people that are working with young people on the issue of child marriages in Nigeria. This is courtesy of Ford Foundation. Don't go away.
Marriage is being fought on a daily basis across West Africa and the world. Local and international agencies, religious bodies, civil societies and governments have embarked on various campaigns to enlighten and educate